Without members, a book club is just a book. Join the community by following us on Facebook or sign up for exclusive content through our website, www.bookinterrupted.com/unpublished.
Parental guidance is recommended because this episode has mature topics and strong language. Here are some moments you can look forward to during this episode of Book Interrupted.
And I kept stopping it and pausing, be like, in the book, they said blah, 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 blah.
But he'd be like, oh, my darling. Oh, my darling.
Yes.
Oh, my darling. Clementine. I'm not joking.
Oh yeah, Haymitch would be a good one. That's so
Yeah,
Disney.
That would
Do
be
you
a
know what I
good
mean?
one.
That's so Disney.
Would you do it if you were starving? Would
Oh,
you?
for sure. Like, I heard it's like chickens.
This particular Hunger Games, I think I would have been one of the characters just crying.
I just want to see
Kim's front row every year at the
Is that too much to
reaping.
ask? Children being forced to kill each other so they don't die.
I'll destroy people's lives with you. That's a power couple. Me in a red suit, like I just, yeah.
That's a power couple.
Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being distracted. Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being disrupted. Mind, body, and soul. Inspiration is the goal. And we're gonna talk it out on Book Interrupted.
Welcome to Book Interrupted, a book club for busy people to connect and one that celebrates life's interruptions. During this book cycle, we're reading Ashley's book pick, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This book was made into a movie in 2023 and stars Tom Blythe and Rachel Zegler. It's the reaping that will kick off the 10th annual Hunger Games. In the capital, 18-year-old Coriolanus Snow is preparing for his one shot at glory as a mentor in the games. The once mighty House of Snow has fallen on hard times, its fate hanging on the slender chance that he will be able to outcharm, outwit, and outmaneuver his fellow students to mentor the winning tribute. The odds are against him. He's been given the humiliating assignment of mentoring the female tribute from District 12, the lowest of the low. Their fates are now completely intertwined. Let's listen in to this episode's group discussion.
Welcome to the Hunger Games, folks, where all the names are stupid.
You know, yeah. That's so true because sometimes when I'm sitting there and reading or listening to the names, I'm like, who came up with this?
For me, I'm like, you're trying too hard. You're trying way too hard. This is stupid.
But that's the thing with the Capitol. That totally happens where people name their kids.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these people whose kids are named something.
Apple? No.
Right? I don't know. I think it does happen today. And so we just progressed it. Everybody was like, I need a unique name for my kid. If everybody wants the
To
unique
stand
name,
out. Yeah.
yeah, then everyone's got something like that. Something like, I can't even remember one of them.
One of them was like Lisa Strata.
Hilarious Heavensby. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
I wish my name was hilarious.
Hilarious. You are hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good name. What if he was like super serious and he's like, but his name's hilarious, and he'd be like, stop laughing.
Then he'd be ironic. His name would be Hilarious Ironia.
Ironicus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one, Ironicus.
Well, and sometimes you don't know how to pronounce them. So, like, in my head, I kept changing Coriolanus. I was like, Coriolanus, Corol. You know, I was like, every time I'd read it, I would skim through and be like, how do I really say this name? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I said it right either.
So, and his friend. No, what's the guy? No, I don't even remember because I read this a bit.
Sejanus.
Yeah, Sejanus.
Yes, that one. Is it Sejanus?
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't get Sejanus the first few times either until I listened to it through an audiobook, and I was like, that still doesn't check out for me.
It's a tough audiobook to narrate.
It's Lucy Gray, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's normal.
Okay, I was
she's
doing
got a
my
normal
book
name.
report and I was like, I think it's Lucy Gray, but it seems like in my mind, I'm like, that name is really simple compared
Yeah.
to all the rest. So maybe I'm wrong and I just invented that to make it
But
easier
they said
to
that
read.
they said in the book that people from the Covey, they get their one name from a ballad and one name as a color. So that's
Yeah,
why
color, yeah,
everybody
like that.
from the Covey is got a normal sounding name.
Good names.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that we've already started talking, but maybe Ashley, do you want to introduce the book?
Officially.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Officially?
Yes. Okay. So this is me officially introducing the book. So we are talking about The Hunger Games, A Ballad of Songbird and Snakes, which came out a few years ago. It's by Suzanne Collins, and the movie was adapted in 2023. So we're still kind of in the height of all of the Hunger Game craze again, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So when was the book actually released? Because I thought it was newer.
It is
Like, was it
newer.
part of the, I want to say trilogy, but obviously not, because that would make it a quadrilogy, right? That's the technical
wasn't.
term for 4 books.
Let me pull it up, but
Sounds
I'm
right.
pretty sure it came out.
Copyright 2020.
I was gonna say 2020. Yeah, so that's right.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah. But I was surprised at how quickly it became a movie because The Hunger Games had taken so long from its release to actually becoming a movie for it to happen. So I was a little shocked when they had already announced the movie and stuff for it.
I wouldn't be surprised if while she was writing the book, or they might have been like, can you write another one? I wonder if they were talking
totally.
about it earlier on before the book even came out.
Mhm.
I
That's
read this book back when we did the Hunger Games. And I read
Oh,
it in,
did you really? Yeah.
I read it in French, and
Ooh.
then I listened to it in English.
Okay.
I didn't enjoy the audiobook, but then I was like, I need a refresher, but I was reading our next book and I didn't know if I'd had the time. So I got the audiobook again and listened to it on double time. And then near the end, I was like, I gotta finish this before
Horrible.
tomorrow. And I was listening to it 2.5 time, which
Oh,
you can't do
man.
with a normal book, but because I'd already kind of read it twice. So I
Oh, for
blasted
sure.
through this over the audiobook's like 16 hours long. So, but if you listen to it on double time or double 2.5, so I was listening to it in the car. My kid's like, "This is too fast." I guess I can slow it down a little bit, but also
You're like, I have a
radio.
time limit on this.
got a
I
time
can't
limit.
take time.
I'm gonna listen to it, and when I'm going places in the car, because do a lot of
But you know how
driving around.
You know how books you skim? It's like you were doing a skim with an audiobook, which is crazy for me. I can't even imagine doing that. Like, let me skim it. It'd be like gibberish.
Just read the first and the
Horrible.
last sentence of each page. You basically get the gist.
I tried to do it at triple time, and I have to admit that is too fast. I was like, I'm not catching. Because like by the time you put the sentence together, they're way past it. And you're like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
right? Like,
Totally.
before your
They're
brain,
on to
like,
a whole different chapter.
that's right. So 2.5 was as fast as I could go. I wouldn't be able to do that on a new book, but you know, for
Mm.
summaries, I
How did
crammed.
everyone read it? Did everyone read a book or an audiobook? Both? I read both.
I read it on Apple Books.
Okay, yep.
I read the book.
Apple Books.
I bought the
Nice.
book.
Ooh,
I
wow.
have never listened to an audiobook ever in my life.
Ever.
Really?
I keep thinking, but I don't know. It just seems to me it's too disjointed. Like unless I'm going to sit down and listen to it, I feel like if I did little bits here and there, I would be confused. Maybe, I don't know.
I definitely
harder to
was
pay attention.
not pro audiobook until this season when there were so many books. I was like, I have to figure out how I'm going to read all these books. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm driving for 3 hours a day. So I was like, I'm going to use some audiobooks. And now I've read 17 books in 5 seconds. It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
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 I like audiobooks for when you want to be reading something or listening to a story, but you can't physically be reading a book. Like you're saying, driving,
Yeah.
right? I would love to be reading a book while simultaneously driving. So that's what the audiobook's for.
I've seen
So-
people do that.
Yeah, right.
Actually,
that's
I do.
scary.
Book, and they're like driving, and you're like,
But I do have a
Wait.
tip. Give it a couple books, because the first audiobook I listened to was Eat, Pray, Love, because that's why it started too, because I didn't want to reread it, but it had been so long that I was like, oh, maybe I'll try this. I didn't like the author's voice, like the way she read it was a little bit robotic for me or whatever. But then I read this other book that we're not reading as part of Book Interrupted, and it was way better. Like the voice that they chose suited how I wanted to hear it, I guess. So be careful, because I don't know why I assumed everything would be pleasant to my ear, but you may find that it's not. But not all
Yeah.
audiobooks are the same. They're not all.
some are good and some
Like,
are
And
Can
sometimes
you,
the
like,
author reads them. Like you can get
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey's version of his book. So how great would that be to listen to McConaughey, tell you about green lights or whatever the heck it's called.
You think, but the one that Eat, Pray, Love did was the author, and you did not like it.
Correct. But
So, you know what I mean? Like, it could go either way.
I haven't heard a lot of Elizabeth Gilbert, though. But McConaughey has an excellent drawl.
Viola Davis does her memoir, and it's amazing. And she won an Emmy for it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really good. Yeah, so there's different, like, and sometimes you have audiobooks where they have two different narrators, like one for a boy and one for a girl or something, and that's super enjoyable.
Which I think they should do.
Yeah.
Totally. I agree.
I'm doing the Henrietta Lacks one right now, and I'm doing it on audiobook. And I have lots of things to say about that because there's lots of different voices represented.
But I'm not going to say it right now.
Yeah. Can you preview the voice? Is there a way to be
Yes, you
like,
can.
am I going to like this voice or not before you buy it?
I get mine through my library. So you
Okay.
might be able to
Yeah,
find on
mine
your
too.
library. Like, my library uses Hoopla, and it's got a lot of audio and digital
No, that's
books.
better.
You can preview it. Do a little listen to see what it's like.
Okay. To
good.
see.
This book would have been a really good book to have a male and a female because I listened to the audiobook and I fucking hated it.
Yeah, the way he did
the-
the female voices sounded
Yes,
a little
so-
patronizing, actually.
Yes, and so annoying
insulting.
too, the way they were singing the female version. Just get a girl in there. You know, it's
he'd like
yeah,
talk the songs, and like I get it,
Yes!
it's tough,
Yeah.
but he'd be like, "Oh my darling, oh my darling,
Yes.
oh my darling, Clementine." I'm not joking.
No,
Like,
yes.
we all know the song. Try to be like, "Oh my darling," that song. But I guess you can, if you're going to talk some of the songs, then you might as well talk them all. You know what I also got from my library Hoopla app was the soundtrack, which I also have been cramming before.
Oh my gosh, do you guys
They-
love the soundtrack? Have you
It's
guys listened to
good.
the soundtrack for it? Anyone
No.
else?
No.
No.
Oh, all the Hunger Games. Yes.
So it'd be nice to like have the soundtrack while you're reading the book, especially with the audiobook, because you can just like skip skip the songs. Or whatever.
Well, you can even go and listen to the actual song. So so I don't remember the main actress's name. I think it's Zoe Rigler, but I could be wrong on that. She went and recorded a bunch of the songs. So if you're listening to the audiobook and you're like, wow, this guy's so bad, you could stop and go and listen to how it's supposed to sound and then go back to the audiobook, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the girl who sang it in the movie.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah,
we talked-
yeah. And
Mhm.
she supposedly sang live the whole time. She said she wanted it to sound, as authentic as possible. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
it's a little fun fact, guys.
Wow. Okay, so let's go into that. What do we think about the adaptation from the book to the movie?
Well, I'll start. I loved it. Yes, I loved it. I loved the 3 parts. I already own it, so I've seen it a dozen times now. It's on in the background constantly. And I don't know, and it might just be right now because I'm so excited about having a new Hunger Games, but I think it's my favorite movie out of all, I guess there's 5 of them now. So, yeah, that's my opinion.
I feel the opposite. Sorry, Ashley.
Oh, okay. No, that's okay. I want to hear it.
No, I liked the movie. I thought it was well done. But because I just finished reading the book and then I watched the movie right afterwards, there's so many things missing and they changed so many things. I kept having, I was with my partner and I kept stopping it and pausing, be like, in the book, they said blah, 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 blah. And then we would watch a little bit, be like, in the book, they missed this and this and this and this and this. When it got to like the end, he's like, it doesn't feel like there was enough buildup for the climax to happen. But I
Totally.
just felt like you couldn't have fit everything in. So maybe if they'd done 2 movies, the one that was like the Hunger Games side and the other one in District 12, that to me would have been better. But
And surprising they didn't do that.
I heard there's a 5-hour director's cut somewhere.
oh.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'll watch it. Just let me know. I have 5 hours to spare. So yeah, I think that would be awesome. But I totally agree with that. I think there was so much left out because they were trying to fit it in like a movie theater time frame. And
Yeah,
so
they
much got
squished
left
it.
out.
Like it did feel
Yes.
rushed. And in the Hunger Games, the way the people died were different and stuff too.
Yeah.
And they made
Yep.
it look like the drones were weapons. I didn't feel like that was
Yeah.
the way it was in the book. I feel like the water one was weapons. They made it look like the drones were part of them. Yeah, anyway, inside the games, that whole set I think was super rushed through because they just wanted to get through it. And I feel like the end when he was in 12 was also rushed through.
All the Hunger Games movies feel like that though too, right? When I watch them, I'm just kind of like they change a lot of stuff because they can't pack it all in, I guess.
couldn't,
Like
yeah.
a slow.
I thought they did a good job adapting all the Hunger Games, adapting that book
Yeah.
into a movie, considering they could never possibly do it all. And there were some things they added to the movie that I thought was good, like that added to the book that wasn't in the book.
Oh, like what?
So you know when the cousin was basically telling him, "Don't be like his dad." He's like, "Oh, I
Yes.
look like my dad," and she's like, "No, basically
Yep.
your dad's evil, and you're
Mhm.
not. You're a good
Yes.
person." And then how at the end he was like, "Well, you're evil. You're just like your dad now." I thought that was good because they had to somehow show how he became who he was, because it just mattered that he won and that he became like his father and he did the legacy of the Snows. I thought because they had to squish it all in, it was like an easy way to say, now you've become your dad.
Right. Whereas in the book, it was like
It slowly showed him as a
Totally.
good person becoming this evil person because of all these circumstances in the book, but they had to kind of shorten it, being like, here are the moments that you made the wrong decision and now you're this.
Yeah.
right. As whereas in the book, it was like him throwing away his mom's spoiler alert, by the way. His mom's powder, being like it got wet. He throws this thing that's so precious to him in the trash.
Yeah.
And then he got rid of like most of the pictures. He's like, I don't need these pictures. And he just kept his dad's compass, right? He's like, this is what I need because now I'm my dad. yeah.
You know how I'm like never like the movie? The movie's always way worse than the book. So for this one, I thought it was really interesting because I really liked the book in the beginning and through the Hunger Games. And then at the end, I was like, I hate this book. Just end. You're way too long and stupid. I hate you. And then when I watched the movie, I had the exact opposite experience where I was like, this movie seems fake and stupid. Like, what's with these characters, whatever. And then The Hunger Games was okay. And then at the end, I was like, oh, I like that movie. That was a pretty good movie. And I think it's because they cut out so much stuff. I was like, this is how it should be. Like, that was much more efficient. So it was weird because literally opposite. You know what I mean? Like from beginning to end, my enjoyment was opposite for book and movie.
I don't remember if we discussed it in the original Hunger Games or not, but did you enjoy the adaptation from that book to the movie?
Yeah, I didn't mind those adaptations because you do want to see the Hunger Games, I guess. Like reading about it is fun, but like that's what makes me want to watch a movie is when there's something in the book that you wish you could see. I know that I didn't like the third one because, and I said this in the Hunger Games episode, I think, I don't like the political unrest and all the talking about whatever. So the third Hunger Games book was like that, so I didn't like it. And then the movie obviously was the same, and I'm like, so I don't enjoy that. And then I think that's also why I didn't like the end of the book. I just want the Hunger Games only. I just want all of the time in the like that movie and
You
book
want
didn't have a.
destruction.
I just want like the whole concept is wow, all these people have to go into this crazy space and then it's last man standing. That's enough. I don't need 50,000 sub stories outside of it taking away from the whole thing that attracted me to it in the first place.
Just
I
want to
like that,
see
yeah.
some children get killed and killing each other.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say that.
I just want to see
Kim's front row every year at the
Is that too much
reading.
to ask? Children being forced to kill each other so they don't die.
I came here for dead kids.
Come on.
I mean, be careful there.
Gory weapons
only
and
want that.
weird mutants coming after these children. I want to see these crazy mutants. Yeah.
No, but I also felt like the book and the movie, that both of them are like three separate things. Just pick a direction and invest there. Those were my things that made me not be like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah, I found the end was slower than the beginning too. I agree that once they got to District 12, I was like, I read the first half so fast, and then the last third was so slow. Laird's like,
yet
you're
it
still
wraps
reading
up.
this book?
And yet it
was
wraps
like-
up once it's like you think
And
you're going to
then-
be in District 12 forever. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
I don't want to, should I spoil it? Do
I mean,
listeners
you
know?
could just
no
say
worries.
spoiler
It's just we have
alert.
one episode.
Warning.
spoiler alert. Do it.
Basically, all of a sudden, he's looking for her with a gun in his hand. Like all of a sudden,
Exactly.
he's like,
Yeah.
and she knows that he's going to do that because he obviously killed his best friend. You know, like she's probably been suspicious the whole time. And you wonder How much of their relationship was she like aware? Because she's good at manipulating people's emotions as part of what she does as an entertainer, right? That's how she makes her way in the world. She probably always suspected him because, like, let's face it, right? I mean, she was
He's
in
her
the Hunger
coach in the
Games
Hunger
and
Games.
yeah,
Yeah.
it can't be like, great. It's supposed to be a place of prestige where you're torturing people. How much was that her caring for him, and how much was it her stringing him along?
Well,
Right?
I don't
Was
know.
she always pretending, or did she really care about him? It's hard to know. Like,
Don't
was
you-
she a songbird or a snake? They're both.
She's the songbird.
Yeah,
Both
totally.
of them.
I was gonna say, I think they're mirror images of each other.
Yeah.
I
right.
think that he went the evil way and she went the not evil way, but they were both kind of manipulative, showing a different face that wasn't their own to the outside world. That's why they kind of connected, because they were the same but different. You know what I mean? Like, they were the same, but he wanted to win. She also wanted to win, but
In the
she
end, they wanted different things. Like their end goal was different. Yeah.
right. He
Or
wanted
that's the thing.
power and whatever, and she wanted something else, but they both did the same things.
And the cousin Tigress, she even says it was after the reaping, and Coriolanus is thinking about how he's gonna get people to look at her and whatever, right? Through the Hunger Games. He says she's basically district, like, ew. And Tigress is like, don't overlook that. You guys might have a lot more in common than you think. And I think from there on out, it's basically just like parallels. Like they're both hungry, right? He's starving in the capital, she's starving in District 12. They're both kind of like zoo animals, you know? There's so many parallels that shows
They're
them
both
so similar.
performing all the time, right?
Yeah,
Like, he's
yep.
performing to pretend he's still in this prominent family,
Yep.
and she's on stage pretending constantly that she's fine and not scared.
Yeah.
And
I like how he thinks everything is self-defense. I love his inner voice where he just can
Totally.
justify anything. He's like, but
Yes.
I had to do that because otherwise they might find out that I'm poor. Or whatever. Like, otherwise, like, he just justified everything. Well, this was kind of like self-defense too. What other option did I have but to kill people or whatever he was doing? I love how everything was an act, and he just inside he's like, anyone else would do this too. Like, he just no idea that a lot of people would not. The people who would not, like his friend
The Janus.
the Janus, he wouldn't, and he just could not understand him. He's like, what's wrong with you, right?
What's
Like,
wrong with Janus? He's
Janus.
conscious.
Well, and when he died in the movie, there was no buildup for that. It was all of a sudden the movie, you're like, what? Whereas there's like, where did that come from? Whereas in the book, it feels like there's a development, but in the movie, it's just there and gone, and then that storyline's over and they move on.
I thought they did that okay with the ending though, because the ending was abrupt. But in the movie, you could see it transpiring, like, oh, the God, like now they understand. And you could see the moment where maybe Lucy Gray was aware all along, but like the moment where they both knew each other knew or whatever. So the ending was fine. But yeah, they did like push things in and like having to sneak through the fence. I don't know. It's weird what things they decide make the movie too.
I will say, why so many of a full song? You have a movie that's almost 3 hours long and you're gonna put like 4 or 5 full songs in there?
oh yeah, that's true. The songs were really long in the movie. I'm like, can we just cut? She's singing, and then we don't need to hear the whole thing.
Yes. We could have had like a 20-30 second snippet and we could have moved on. So much more could have been added if we had cut out those songs.
I felt like that in the book too. I'm like, I don't want to read all of the lyrics. I know that they had meaning and whatever, but I don't know if that tool was overused. So it made me be like, I don't even care about the meaning because I'm just trying to finish this terrible ending of a book.
Oh, I didn't read the song lyrics, I don't think. Like, I
Oh.
kind of just skimmed them, moved on.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wish.
I think it was like meant to show how her way of like manipulating people and stuff was a little bit different than his too, right? He didn't really understand any of the metaphors. He was like, I don't get this. It's so funny because he kind of acted like he was smart, but also he was a bit of a blunt instrument, you know, like he was smart in a certain way. And she was in a more subtle way, where she was like using some of these lyrics, I think, to manipulate him and other people as well, right? Because he'd be like, is she singing about me? She's singing about that other guy. Did she put the guns in that house? Was
No,
the
that
plan
guy
all
did.
along?
That third guy.
Maybe though, or maybe she knew about it and this was her test, right? His character development the whole time is him going through all these different tests. The crazy doctor knew that he was his father's son, probably. And so she, from the very beginning, was like, I'm going to develop this guy into taking over my world of crazy. Because the dean wasn't going to do it. She's like, who's going to take over the Hunger Games that I want to live forever? I want that to be around. So I need this guy to get crazy. So you wonder if Lucy Gray, I know she seemed innocent and stuff, but I think that's part of it, is not just that she necessarily went the good way, but they were both very similar. And she just did it a different way. He wants power and she wanted freedom. And they were just going for different things, I guess. Like, she also kind of wanted power, but like, did she know the guns were there? I feel like it was a test. Like, she knew ahead. She had that ribbon on her head before they went, so that he could see her so she could manipulate him later. Like, she had a plan. Like, she didn't go into that house not knowing they weren't there, I think. I think she knew those guns were there as a test to see what he would do. Because she took that ribbon right. She's like, now I'm going to go get some stuff, and then tied it to a thing all ready for him to get bit by a snake. I'm just saying.
I like that theory. Yeah.
You know, it's songbirds and snakes. They're both snakes and they're both songbirds. They're both.
And she uses snakes a lot too.
Because they both sang too, right? He sang too. He sang the national anthem and stuff at those funerals.
Which they chose not to put in the movie.
Yep.
I feel like that was
weird.
something. Yeah, wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do wish in the movie that they did somehow, like with his inner monologue, because he was just the things he was thinking through certain situations as a quote normal person watching that movie. I'm like, oh my God, my best friend is dying. You know, that's so sad. But then you read the book and it's like, he's only upset because he thinks he's next because he's in association with him, that he's gonna get hung too. But in the movie you're like, oh my God, wow, he's so sad about his friend, he regrets it. But in the book you're very aware that no, he doesn't. He's more regretful being Sejanus's friend.
He's
He's
just self-focused.
Yes,
like that's what's being shown all of the time. That's what his weakness is he can't understand other people because he doesn't take the time. He's just too busy focused on himself and his own experience.
Yeah, he doesn't
I
care.
think though the beginning of the book, his inner monologue made me have more sympathy for him, and then I think it flip-flopped for me, whereas in the book I had less sympathy for him at the end of the book. So I'm like, oh no, his inner monologue is not great. But the beginning I felt sorry for him, but then the movie I felt more sorry for him and had sympathy for him in the movie at the end than I did at the beginning, because I couldn't hear all the monologue in the beginning of him feeling like he doesn't want people to know, and he's so afraid, and he was afraid of war, and not able to provide for his family, and all these things. Like, yeah, you felt for him. So I think it did a flip-flop for me in the movie versus the book with the inner monologue thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't he super cute though? Didn't you love when he shaved his head?
Oh my God. I love the long hair, the shaved head, all of it.
I started it because I was all like, these guys are weird and awkward and this movie is slow and his hair was all curly and whatever. But then as it went on, I was like, oh my God, I'm in love with Coriolanus.
Yes, and seeing him, I'm like, well, I get it. It's sure. That's manipulate me. That's fine. I'm on this earth for such a small period of time and it's same as him. All right. Like, it's meant to be.
He was really handsome.
I do think that was such a smart move too on whoever casted him. And I don't know if it was intentional or not, but pretty privilege, right? And I wonder if part of that was the point, is to show that, oh, so many people are like, oh my God, like I don't care if Snow's evil, right? And that's probably part of what realistically got him to where he was, is he was good looking and charming.
He also looked really way more buff at the end of the movie. Like I thought he was kind of skinny in the beginning. And then at the end of the movie, when he's not wearing his uniform, he looks really super buff. So muscular.
Because he went to the boot camp or whatever. He was starving and then he went to boot camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He
He
was
can eat
eating
now, right? That's why.
regular food, not just
started
lima
eating.
beans. Yeah, more than lima beans and cabbage soup. Yeah.
That's so
Or
funny.
whatever.
I thought he was cuter when he was skinnier.
With the long hair.
When he was all buff, I was like, oh, what happened?
Oh, I'm off put by that.
Stop feeding that boy.
It's called the Hunger Games.
Exactly.
Doesn't look hungry enough.
So I have a question for everybody. If you were in the Hunger Games, what would be your strategy? No,
I think
to
I would
die.
hide. I would definitely be like hiding and watching
I
and
would
waiting
hide.
and seeing, and like I would not be a confronter or some version of an attacker face to face one-on-one, because I feel like that's really risky.
This Hunger Games
Yeah.
is difficult though because they couldn't get you the food.
Yeah.
Like in the other books, they had this big forest or whatever, and then so you could go and they could find you. But this one, you can hide, or you can come out in the open and get your food or your water. Water was a thing. Yeah, that's tough. I'd want to hide too.
I thought that girl on the pole was pretty smart.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
Until those people teamed up and climbed up.
Yeah, I think I would hide. I really liked where Lucy Gray hid in the duct area. It also didn't have a camera. I think, imagine she went in there without anyone chasing her into there. That would be such a good place to hide. People would probably forget about you. But I do, and not to be full of myself.
Okay,
but
so Coriolanus.
yeah, I was like, not to be choreo here. I would slay the Hunger Games in the sense that I think I would get so many sponsors. I think I would just really be working it. I'd be like, welcome to my crib in District 12. Like, follow me along. Get ready with me for the Hunger Games.
You'd social media it?
Oh, so much. Like, I'd be like, come along with
Doing
me.
TikToks?
Yes, and I'd be like, oh, this is me and my mentor, doing TikTok dances and whatever. Oh, yeah. So I'm delusionally would totally believe that I would get so much sponsors that would push me through to the end. So
It's a definite advantage for sure.
This particular Hunger Games, I think I would have been one of the characters just crying. I don't think I would have been, the ones that are just like,
yeah.
I know I'm gonna die. There's nothing I can do about it. You know how there are some of those characters that they're like, I'm a dud. She won't do anything. And she's just crying all the time. In the other ones, I would have a strategy. But in this one, I feel like there wasn't enough. Like, there's no water. I'm starving. These rats are all over. I'm in a zoo.
They didn't feed you ahead of time.
You're still in the same clothes, too.
Yeah, like that's a major difference, right? They're treated like abused.
Yeah.
Like neglected.
Yes.
And like, yeah, people are being strung up as a parade and I have to sit there and watch them being tortured. All of that. I'd be like, I don't want to be here. Just, when is it going to happen?
Just
and
kill
they're just
me.
going to kill me and I can be done with this. I would be one of those crying ones.
So would your strategy be
I
to
would be-
go right out there and get yourself killed then?
Maybe, yeah. Or maybe just ask someone. Be like, listen, can you just
Just let me go.
Make it
Yeah.
painless.
take me out as painless as possible?
Take me out.
Yikes.
Or like,
Oh.
Lucy, can you give me some of that poison and then I'll just be done?
Oh, I would fight. No, I wouldn't actually fight. I would run, but I'd try to grab something.
I would
to
fight
run.
back if somebody was trying
Definitely.
to attack me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But I would hide first. I like the pair that collected the drones and then got them to attack somebody.
Yeah.
Yes.
cool.
Oh, totally.
They didn't really have that in the movie.
Mm-mm. They only had the mentors
Rabies?
kind of like
Oh.
using it as right.
I didn't like that part of the movie.
I think the point of this Hunger Games, the original thought was they were just supposed to die really quick. So it wasn't
Mhm.
supposed to be a long, drawn out affair that as the seasons go on and they make it a whole spectacle.
Yeah.
This one was supposed to be everybody gets in the middle and then they kill each other and it's done. But because of the bombs, then they had more places to hide. And so probably the doctor was like, ooh, this is great. This will prolong it. We could do all this stuff. So
I did think that was cool though.
Totally. It's like the making of the Hunger Games and the making of President Snow and the making, in a way, of Katniss Everdeen, because we're thinking that the young girl in the covey is her great grandmother or something, right?
Yeah, Maud
Oh.
Ivory.
Maud Ivory, who never forgets a song and learns it the first time, and then she's singing the Hanging Tree song, and
She's
then
blonde.
Katniss's
blue-eyed.
dad used to sing that to her. And so you get the idea that Maud Ivory is Katniss's grandmother. And so in a way, having that wildness about them and going to the lake and being able to collect Katniss and stuff to eat. The book is also the making of all the three of those things in a way.
I liked
Yeah.
how they showed how the Hunger Games became from what it was or whatever. Like, it was just a trauma reminder. Like, it was just like, bring your people and this is what'll happen because we won. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it was very just
Brutal.
It wasn't a long thing like the Hunger Games 6 years later. It was all year, right? Like they had the tour before to go pick up everyone from the districts, and then they were in the capital for like a week training. Then the Hunger Games was like, however long, and then they had the tour afterwards, and then it all starts again with the reaping. Whereas in this one, it's just like, okay, here's the reaping. The Hunger Games is supposed to be over in 24 hours. and we'll see you guys in a year kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I agree. It was so cool. Not cool. Well, I don't know if I want to say cool, but cool. To see,
Yeah,
to see like
cool.
dead
It's
kids.
interesting.
yeah, to see the bare minimum kind of what they
Started
how it
with.
started and
Yeah.
how crazily it became a huge sport basically.
Mm.
You think they're going to do she's going to do another book and maybe movie after this one, but before the next Hunger Games, more of how Coriolanus develops and the Hunger Games develop?
It is a long
Like how he
time.
becomes president.
Yeah,
I don't
I've
know.
heard a lot of each quarter quell. So the 2 other quarter quells to be written in books, also Haymage's games.
Oh yeah, Haymitch would be a good one. That's so
Yeah.
Disney.
That would
Do you
be
know
a
what I
good
mean?
one.
Like,
That's so Disney.
Disney's
Yeah.
boogie because they crack the code, right? They're like, oh, some of these
Yeah.
side characters are really popular. Let's make a whole thing about them.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally, right? So I would love it so much because I'm just such a huge Hunger Games lover. So that sounds absolutely divine to me. I'll watch them all. It could be every year, 76 of them. I'll watch all 76.
I would love that if they did
Yeah.
that actually.
Imagine the first Hunger Games was probably just, I don't even
Killing
know,
kids.
like that's just,
People just starved and like,
Yeah,
you know,
like-
like it was kind of boring or whatever because it was just people being neglected to death.
yeah.
It's like when people get stranded on a ship that's sinking or crash in the Arctic. Do you know what I mean? It's like those kind of circumstances where it's
Yeah.
like, are you going to survive or not?
Yeah, I agree with what you said, sorry, earlier a few minutes ago. You said this one was so much more brutal. I didn't think I realized how brutal it was reading it, but then when I watched it, I was silent for so much of it because I was like,
I would
"It's
hope
just
so. It's
Well,
a
yeah.
movie.
Well,
Be
okay,
quiet,
yeah.
Ashley.
Yeah. But I mean, just I feel like I wasn't even breathing. Just some of the deaths, I was like, oh my God, at the beginning,
The hanging
and
guy.
or even just when he goes cannibalism at the very beginning to go and
Oh,
eat,
yeah.
you know, and
Oh,
he's
yeah, I forgot,
starving.
yeah.
That I was just to set the tone of the movie, that is so grim. So grim, right? And I was like, damn, I couldn't imagine being in a world where we like have to do that.
Would you do
know?
it if you were starving? Would
Oh,
you?
for sure. Like I heard it's like chickens. As long as I don't gotta prepare it, I'll eat it. I don't care. You tell me it's chicken, I'll eat it. But I wouldn't want to be the one to go out and like fucking hack it off.
Ugh.
You know? Yeah.
Made
Would
some
you
legs.
guys do it?
If I was starving, probably. I don't know, maybe.
I think that desperation would make
Yeah.
you like
Yeah.
if you come straight.
I think you don't know what you're gonna do until you're faced with it.
Yeah. It's like the moral of all of those movies.
Oh, fair. Yeah. And that's what they said. Hunger is a weapon, right? And it's so true. You either do what you have to do or you're gonna die.
I think it's funny how Coriolanus, he couldn't get over the fact that his neighbor had eaten this lady's leg and probably cooked it up, and that his friend lived there, and so she probably ate this person. He's like, oh, it's I can't believe somebody would sink that low. And yet he is like the worst person. He's got like no moral compass.
He thinks is bad is like, are you listening to yourself?
Really?
Yeah.
But I can kill everybody because it protects me. Like did you see him killing the dean? He kills the dean at the end of
Loved
it.
it.
Like
Yes.
he just killing everybody. The doctor made it, but like she's gonna go eventually once he knows how to get to the archives, right? And delete that video of him killing the tribute. Did she know that that would mean that he wouldn't kill her? She knows who he is. So she's like, oh, I erased everything except for the archive that I keep. So he knows there's an archive with this video of him. So he knows she's a threat. Once he gets that video, she is a goner.
True poison, and I
She
bet,
is
yeah.
a goner. You're right.
And she's probably
Yeah, for
protecting
sure.
herself because she thinks like him. She targeted him being like, you are my legacy, Coriolanus Snow. Yeah, so.
Did you
Like,
guys
oh,
know
she's-
that there's a Shakespeare character called Coriolanus?
Snow.
No.
I don't know
And
about Snow.
What play?
I think the play's called Coriolanus.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
I stumbled upon it because I was gonna go hard on why would you put anus in the name so that every time we read it would be like Coriolanus.
Oh my God.
I just was so mad at the names, all of them. But and saying it too, like to read it, saying it, it actually flows out pretty easily. Coriolanus, like it's not a big deal. But every time I read it, it was laborious. I don't know. Like I hated reading all of these long, stupid, idiot names that are like Anyway, and then I don't know how I stumbled upon it because I thought it was one of the fully made up names, but it is a Shakespeare character. There's some theme, like it probably was chosen on purpose.
Okay, so this is what Wikipedia says. It says Coriolanus is a tragedy by William Shakespeare believed to have been written between 1605 and 1608. The play is based on the life of the legendary Roman leader Caius Marcius Coriolanus. I can't say names, so just bear with me here, ladies. It's the name given to a Roman general after his military feats against the Volscians. And
he gets like kicked out, and
Corioli.
then he does what he has to do to come back, and he's an egomaniac. Like the themes are how ego takes you down, or loyalty, like questioning, and like things like that.
Oh, well, that feels so relevant. Yeah.
So it
totally.
makes sense that it's his name. I didn't even, in my book report, I don't even call it him. I call him Cornelius because that's real name in my mind. So I'm like,
Well, that's his
Cornelius,
dad's
whatever his
name
name
is Cornelius.
Oh, really? That's even
Yeah.
stupider.
His
We'll
dad's
call
name
him the
is
same thing. We'll
Cornelius?
just move the letters around.
Yeah, isn't it? And his name
Cornelius.
is
What is his name again?
Coriolanus.
Coriolanus.
Yeah.
Anus.
Yeah. Just
Did they
real
call
anus
him
here.
Coriolanus in the other Hunger Games, or just the snow bit?
Just
I don't
Snow.
know. I couldn't remember.
It was just
either,
President
like, President
Snow.
Snow.
Yeah, President Coriolanus Snow.
No, his father's name is Crassus Xanthos.
Crassus, okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I lied.
Yeah.
Crassus.
The X is what gave him away on the handkerchief. That's the only X name I know, which is like funny.
Right.
That Xanthos is the only X name that he knows.
In
In
that
a world of
world, too?
crazy names.
Yeah,
Exactly.
totally.
You'd think there'd be more X names in that world where everybody's
Yeah.
got hilarious
Crazy
names.
Hilarious.
Let's have a little highlight reel of some of the names. Actually, maybe Mare, if you're on your computer, look
Are
up
we all?
the characters, the character names. Yeah, let's hear them. Let's try to name some first. So, like Lisa Strata, Tigris, we already
Pud
said.
parenting. Yeah, Pud parenting, I think. Yes. Pup
Love it.
parenting,
Character
sorry.
names. Oh, there's just so many.
Yeah, read them.
That Flavius, Portia,
Yes, yeah.
right?
Portia.
Lavinia, Antonius. There's a lot of ESs. Pollux, Glimmer. Oh, this is from like the first ones, but
Yeah.
still.
Here, I have a
Cashmere,
list of
Brutus.
all the
Okay.
Oh, you have it.
Oh,
Okay, read
perfect.
those.
Good job.
See, you're
So-
better at this.
Persephone, Festus, Iphigenia.
See, I don't have time to sound that out while I'm reading,
Vipsania.
right?
I just skip over names if they don't come to me right away.
Exactly.
That's what I did.
Yeah, Domitia,
Treach. I remember Treach was a name.
Arachne.
Arachne is a
Yeah.
funny one. I like that.
I did like Arachne.
Well,
as a
I liked,
name.
there were 3 of them that I was like, okay, that's a cool name.
Yeah, but
Was Arachne
certainly
one of them?
someone out there is naming their kids after names from the Hunger Games, though, right?
It's Ashley.
There's
Her fur babies.
Sorry that my baby
Fur
Choreo is just the most handsome little man. Like, that's not my fault.
That's why there's baby names from the Hunger Games. I'm just like, oh man, I don't even want to look. But of course,
Baby names from the Hunger Games. Oh,
It reminds me, remember in Twilight when they named their stupid baby Renesmee?
Oh,
Renesmee.
Renesmee.
Renez who? Renesmee.
Yeah, and their dumb CGI, and it was, awful.
Are we talking about Twilight again?
Let's not
Oh,
get
no.
started. This is a
We should
problem.
change the name of the podcast to Twilight Interrupted, because whenever we're not talking about Twilight, it's weird.
Sarah, you're still obsessed?
I've read everything now. So,
So
if they
she's
came out with something else, maybe.
See, that's how I feel about the Hunger Games. You know what? Say less. Do a whole world.
Yes, and you know what? I also have some of the songs from the movies I have on like my playlist and stuff. So
Oh,
I'm still
nice.
kind of
Yeah.
obsessed.
Yeah. Oh, same
of.
with the Hunger Games. I think all of the soundtracks are so good. I have in my shuffle all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I did want to say earlier is in the original Hunger Games, we find out that Snow's way of killing people, his preferred way, is like poison. That's why he's always wearing roses, is to block out the smell of blood from the poison. In this one, we really see him. We see him watch this dead rat die, and we see him like kind of develop his signature kill move through it. So
Signature move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
his MO.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of neat. I do like some of the things that they brought in from the original Hunger Games. Sometimes I was like, I think they're trying a little too hard to relate it, but stuff like that, it's kind of subtle. He really just be killing anyone with poison.
Yeah,
don't
he loves
care.
I have a
poison.
quick question. What you
Yeah.
guys think? Do you think the cousin Tigress is the same Tigress that helps Katniss
Yes.
and the group?
Yes,
when
it is.
they are-
Yes,
It's the same one.
definitely.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
because she used to be in the games, but like obviously he kind of was like, no, you got to go away. But he didn't kill her. She knows a lot of stuff.
She said he thought she was too ugly for the games anymore. So she wasn't allowed to be a mentor, or she wasn't a mentor. She was part of like the glam squad.
But he
yeah, and
probably wanted to remove her because she was a weakness for him. Because
Oh,
anybody
probably,
else
yep.
who knows so much about him, he would have killed long ago. Remember, he was like, I'll never fall in love again. But he probably actually
Yes.
loves Tigress.
Yeah.
And so he, rather than have this weakness around him, he was like, you're too ugly. You must leave. Right? Because like,
Yeah.
why else would he let her like live in,
Well, just
you
even
know?
loving someone, period.
Yeah.
He's probably like, ooh, that's can't happen. I can't let people know that I love someone else.
Yeah. The other thing about the poison is in this book, he learns that killing people with force is a liability, right?
Mhm.
He shot somebody or two, I don't know.
two people. Yeah.
He beat someone
You know,
too.
beat somebody, and that there's too much evidence left behind. Whereas
Poisoning, no.
poison, he was getting away with that.
Oh, totally.
We should go around and say if we recommend the book or the movie or neither or both.
Okay.
Ashley, I think we know.
So I would recommend the book if you read it. I wouldn't recommend the audiobook personally. And then I would totally recommend the movie. If you want to see it, let me know.
Because I'll go see it with you.
Come over to my place.
I'll go see it. I'll set it up on the projector. It was my Christmas present to myself, so absolutely.
That's great.
What about you guys?
I can go next.
You go, Ness.
I don't know why I chose to go next because I don't really know yet.
You go now, Mary, because she's gonna
Okay.
think. that good?
Same as Ashley. I'd recommend the book. It was good. I enjoyed it. I had not the audiobook. Same.
Mhm.
I didn't watch the movie yet.
That's
It's
okay.
tough. I maybe watch one movie a month, and who has the time? I don't know. I don't. So I, will spend my time elsewhere. But so I don't know yet. But I will try to watch it.
Oh, okay. Let me know.
I'll let you know in a later
We can
podcast.
do a Zoom watch too. If that's time, say less.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ashley just hooked you up.
Excellent.
See?
I
Yeah.
would recommend the book, except for the last bit. No, I actually liked it. And I would recommend the movie, but I wouldn't recommend watching the movie right after you finish the book because then you just notice all of the things. So I would say either take a break or maybe watch the movie first, read the book later, because then you'll be like, oh, there's a lot of backstory in there. Maybe
Yeah,
you could
that's why that
appreciate it
happened.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I like them both. I agree with Ashley. I like the world that the authors created. And I think it's really interesting that she's now done that and then gone back and was able to, create more of the backstory for these characters. So it's just fun. It's easy and it's sad, but it's just easy.
It's fiction.
It's
to
fun
watch
that these kids
murder.
get killed. Yeah.
So fun.
No.
It's just fiction. It's okay
Yeah.
for us to do this.
We're not monsters. We're
It's
not
a-
snakes.
No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go and watch it in real life. I swear. Like, it's...
I swear.
I recommend both. I like them both. And I think they did a good job doing the movie, considering it's such a long book and there's so much just internal dialogue that you can't really put in a movie. So you have to kind of show things. Yeah, I really liked it and I would recommend both of them.
So mine's like Lindsay's in that, except for different. I don't like the end of the book, right? So I'm like, I recommend the book except for the end. But I do think you should watch the movie right after you read the book because
Ooh.
that's why I think I was able to enjoy the movie. That's why I was like, I'm not sure if I recommend this or not, because my recommendation is actually really specific.
Mhm.
Read the book, then watch the movie, and then call me because I'd love to talk about what you thought. Right? Like it's like a total book clubby type recommendation. I can't decide if I like them or not. Like, had I never read them or watched them, I probably would be totally okay. I don't feel like you're missing out if you don't have these things, but that's why I'm like, if you are going to have them all, and then let's talk about it because there is some interesting stuff, as we all know, because we just discussed it for the last hour.
And I could for a lot longer.
Yeah.
I just thought of something. A lot of people have book clubs and stuff. Do you ever hear of somebody have a movie club? It'd be fun to have a group that you watch a movie together and then everyone talks about the movie. Be like, let's
That's
talk about
really
this one.
cute.
Right?
I love that.
I think a lot of people would have more time for that. Be like, great, I'll watch the movie
Oh
the
my
day
God.
before.
Not you. You're like,
Well-
who has time to watch movies?
Because it takes like
Just
2
like-
days to watch.
But that should be season 5. No books.
Yeah.
No books!
Book Interrupted is completely interrupted by movies only.
It's just like by the time the kids go to bed, by the time I have to go to bed, we watch a movie, then I don't get enough sleep. So we have to like split it in two. And then if it's like a really long movie, then you're like watching the same movie for like a
3 days.
week.
Spoiler alert for next episode.
And then you don't want to watch TV every day. Like I just don't want to, right? So I don't know. It's tough to watch. At least this season
And
will be
sometimes
interesting.
I wonder if it's common that, because so far the movies have been longer movies for the books that we've read, and the one coming up, I've watched the movie as well. And
Dude,
Eat, Pray, Love wasn't a
They
long
did.
movie, or was
It
it?
felt long.
it felt
it
long.
was 2
Oh my
hours. Like it
God.
wasn't like an hour and a
It-
half.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't enjoy it.
Right? Yeah. So I'm just saying, I wonder if that's the theme. A book turned into a movie ends up being a longer movie because they're trying to fit in more stuff.
And then people still say the book was better because it had more details. They're like, we tried, we made it really long.
Yeah.
People are complaining.
We made it 10 hours.
It doesn't apply to everything though, because Shawshank I don't think is in particular. Oh, I think Shawshank actually is a 2-hour movie,
It's a short story.
And it's a short story.
Yeah, it's a short story.
and it's a short story. That's a good.
And
point.
they do it. And they do everything.
So that's what we need. That's the formula. Short story to movie seems to be.
You know, on a map, like 1 inch is a mile. Like it's like short story to movie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to have like 3 movies to tell a book.
Or a limited
And then you might as well have a
series.
limited
Yeah,
series.
yeah. I love
Yeah.
limited series. That's the
Yeah.
way of the future. I'll take 6 episodes.
Dude, if the Hunger Games wanted to be a series, and I was just thinking about this
Oh, that
last
could be the
night.
7. The way we watch all 75.
Yes, you can have
Every
76
5 seasons.
I'm not even gonna be here
The
for
longest
all of
running
them.
show.
Yes. Oh, you
Shit.
guys, I would watch every year. It would consume my life. So I'm almost happy that's not a thing. But if they wanted to, yeah, I'll adapt. It's fine. I'll
Binge watching and watching 70 Hunger Games in like 70 days, it would change you, right? Like it
God, yeah.
change who you
You
are.
would be such a violent person, I
You'd
think.
be
the way- like-
Coriolanus.
yeah, the way you would
Mm.
think
That's
is
how you
so.
become Coriolanus.
You'd be like children dying. That's normal. Like I don't know what your issue is.
Yeah. yeah,
Everything
Water.
you
So
see, you would see as a
desensitized.
weapon. You're like, can I use that as a
Yes.
weapon?
Yeah,
Can I hide over
totally.
there? Where's the closest water source?
You can
Everywhere
trust
you go.
anyone.
Everywhere you go.
Anyone. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome. All right.
Holy moly.
Well, do you want to wrap that up? Any last words? Otherwise, we'll move to the next
Yeah.
episode.
Snow lands on top.
Yes, good one.
No
Yeah,
lands
thank
on
you.
top.
Well, like when the
thank
dean was like, snow is falling. And it's like, no, he's going to kill you, buddy.
Oh, I know. Oh my, I love just the play on words with his last name. I love it throughout the movie. It might be because he's hot, and I just
Yeah.
him saying, snow always lands on top or whatever. Oof.
You're like
that's,
on top of me.
word.
Word.
Word. Tom
Oh,
Blythe,
like,
hit me
how I
up.
feel.
It's I'm
He's very
a big fan.
handsome.
He's so handsome.
He's
Oh
very
my god,
handsome.
it's like beyond handsome. Yeah, he also models for Hermes. Like obviously, he's so picture perfect. So yeah. Anyways, huge fan over here. Recommend.
Too bad he's a huge monster.
Coriolanus, not the guy.
Aren't all men?
No.
Hopefully.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know about this guy. He could be, but probably
We don't
not.
know. Hopefully not.
If he's listening,
Let us know.
Why don't you write in and let us know how you are as a person?
Are you a monster?
Are you a monster?
I mean, he would never say it. He'd be like, no, I had to do all those things.
And I'd be like, that's right,
Survival.
you did. Like, you don't
did.
gotta explain to me. You don't. It's fine.
You could just land
Oh my
on top and we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's-
and on top,
yeah, I'll destroy people's lives with you. That's a power couple. Me in a red suit, like I just, yeah.
That's a power couple.
It is. Are you kidding?
Hilarious.
Yeah, I'll change my last name to Snow right away.
Are you on the next episode?
Yes.
I know what your name's gonna be.
Oh, do you?
Excellent.
Love it.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
that was
thanks
a
for
good
reading my
ending.
book.
Madam Snow.
Thanks for
Yeah,
recommending.
great
Hell
pick.
yeah.
It was
Thank
good.
you
It was
guys.
a great pick.
Yeah.
This interruption is brought to you by Unpublished. Do you want to know more about the members and Book Interrupted? Go behind the scenes? Visit our website at www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book interrupted.
All right, so here's my interruption. Book Interrupted was banned. So, our Eat, Pray, Love episode, I used our joke that it was our lawsuit episode. And I'm guessing that the AI from Spotify didn't understand it was a joke. And they banned that episode. And I had to fill out forms indicating why it shouldn't be banned. I have no intention on suing a restaurant 20 years after I choked in it. And the person that we claimed was deceased was, in fact, passed away. It was just a joke. And yeah, so after our banned book season, Book Interrupted was banned, but only temporarily. I think we ran for about 2 weeks. And then Spotify rectified the situation and we're back on there. So if you'd like to listen to Eat, Pray, Love on Spotify, it is now available.
Book interrupted.
It's book report time. We're going to find out from each member their final thoughts and do they recommend the book? Let's listen.
Hi, book lovers, and welcome back. This is Ashley, and it's my personal journal for The Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. You know, going into this, I knew I was going to like it. That's why I chose the book. I really do enjoy the Hunger Games series, and I was so excited for the addition of this book to the series. And just to be transparent though, the very first time I read this book, I did not like it. I thought it relied too heavily on the singing. And I know that it's a ballad of songbirds and snakes, but I felt I was reading a song almost every other page. That's what it felt like anyways. I didn't super like that. And I did feel like Suzanne Collins was trying to connect Snow's early on life too hard to Katniss later on. But then I saw the movie when it came out, absolutely loved the cast. I love Tom Blythe, and he really made Snow kind of come to life to me. And rereading it, loved it. Loved it so, so much. And that's kind of what I did with the original Hunger Games, is I didn't read them until after I saw the movie, at least the first one. And I was really not interested in the Hunger Games until I saw the movie, and then rereading it, I really enjoyed the original books. And so I'm not really surprised that that happened this time. I tend to like things better the second time watching or reading anyways. But yeah, I would really recommend this book. I think it's better if you read the original trilogy personally, but I could see it as a standalone book. I just think there's so many important Easter eggs that would be maybe not caught. But yeah, Suzanne Collins killed it on this one, as she does with majority of her books. I would absolutely recommend this book. I would recommend watching the movie as well. And if you or anyone you know want to watch the movie, let me know, because I'm an absolute fan of it. I will watch it every day if I have to. I hope everyone listening also enjoys the book as much as I do, and if not, I would love to hear everyone else's thoughts on why they do or do not like the book. Thank you.
The prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. I read this book back when we did the Hunger Games in season 3. I ended up reading the entire series, and it was the first time I had done so. So I wanted to cram so I could talk about it with the ladies today, and I listened to the audiobook on double time. So I've consumed this book very recently, kind of all at once in a big, like, super speed blast of audiobook, which is an interesting way to review a book. I kind of liked it. If I could get a hard copy, I would have. However, now that it's a movie, all the copies in the library are taken out and on hold, so I couldn't get it that way. I like that it's called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like, there's more than one bird and there's more than one snake. You're meant to think, I believe, or maybe just your bias is meant to believe that Cornelius Snow, is that his name? Coriolanus? Coriolanus Snow? Corio? Let's call him Corio. Corio Snow is the snake, and he's the bad guy, because we know that, I mean, in the Hunger Games, he kind of does become the bad guy. Although I think you're supposed to question that a little bit at the end too, because he doesn't really believe he's a bad guy anyway. And then I think you're also supposed to believe that Lucy Gray is the songbird. Unthreatening songbirds, aren't they? But she does seem to attack people with snakes quite a bit. So there we go. We've got some imagery from the book. They're both a songbird, saying things that are pleasing or singing and pleasing others with their words or song. And they're both snakes, perhaps deceiving and hiding in the underbrush, doing things that other people don't expect and looking out for themselves. So willing to kill to defend themselves. Even at the end, Lucy Gray still has this image that she is an innocent and that she is something that needs to be protected. But, you know, she's no slouch. She knows how to take care of herself and how to manipulate others, just like Corio does. Coriolanus. Now that I say that word after talking to Kim, I can't stop thinking anus every time I say it. Anyway, I've been listening to the soundtrack and I liked it quite a bit. And this was just another fun book that I recommend. After listening to it again, I wonder if I got anything else out of it after listening to it again. Not really. I mean, some books, when you get to the end, you go, oh, and you need to go back and listen to it again and see what's going on. Maybe a little bit more of the Dean's information came through than it did the first time. But that's about it. I have not watched the movie, but only because of time. But I do plan on watching it. And since I don't really have a ton of time right now to watch a lot of movies, I kind of didn't want to buy it to watch, seeing as it's brand new. And I know that it will probably be available on some streaming service fairly soon for free, or at least for my monthly fee. Yeah, I say go see it. I wish I had watched the movie first. I felt the same way about the other Hunger Games books because I watched the movies first and enjoyed them, and then I read the books. I think this is going to be the same, where I'm going to wish they'd done things differently, but who knows? Time will tell.
This is my final book report. I want to say final book report, but now we're just doing one book, one episode. So this is my book report, or personal journal, for The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Ashley's book pick. I love the Hunger Games series, and we read the first one last season for Banned Books. And this was the prequel to that book, which is very interesting because it's basically telling you how President Snow became so evil. And it's President Snow, Cornelius Snow, as a teenager. And I really liked hearing his voice. He's the narrative of the book, which, you know, if I hadn't read the other Hunger Games, I would have had real sympathy for him. You know, he's trying to pretend that they're not broke and that he's still from an affluent family, and he's super smart, but he kind of has to go through life very carefully and kind of tricking people. And he finally found someone that he loved and kind of let his guard down with, which was Lucy Gray. And it's Lucy Gray, right? I think so. Anyway, I just feel so sad about the end, but it makes sense because his little mantra is like, snow's on top or something like that. Snow always falls on top, something along those lines. He's basically taught just to win. Now, there's something that was different in the book than the movie, and they made his cousin kind of imply that his dad was like evil, like he wasn't a great person, and that Cornelius isn't that guy. Kind of like a warning not to be like his dad, like he's better than his dad. And then by the end, she basically comments that he's become his dad, which means basically he became evil. And, you know, if you're a sociopath, all you care about is winning, right? So he's kind of taught just to care about winning. So I felt that was really sad. If it wasn't a prequel and I didn't know he was going to become evil, I would have been cheering that he ran off with Lucy Gray and they lived happily ever after. But obviously that's not what was going to happen. You have empathy for his journey, but you can see how certain decisions that he made along the way turned him into the person he was. And also the environmental factors, like maybe if that dean wasn't after him, and maybe if the game maker didn't see that potential evilness in him, and all these other things. So that was really interesting. Anyway, so I thought it was a great read. I'm looking forward to talking to everyone about it, especially Ashley, because she so loves the Hunger Games. So it's so fun to talk to her. And I thought the movie did a pretty good job, just like the other Hunger Games. I think they did a decent job putting the novel into a movie. I didn't feel like it was vastly different. I kind of liked some of the things they did, like pointing out, don't turn into your father kind of thing. I liked hearing his voice, so I knew when I watched the movie the kind of the things he was thinking and feeling. I think the movie you feel less sympathy for him than you do when you read the book. So that's the only criticism I have, but obviously they can't do like, when they do over talking, I can't remember what that's called, but they have him talk over his character who's not talking so you could hear his voice. They would have to do that a lot to make this one work because he doesn't reveal so much about himself regularly. So I would recommend the book, and I would recommend the movie too. It's decent. You're not going to be like, oh, I hate watching movies when I read books. So this one's a good one. All right, bye for now.
I am trying to start my personal journal for Hunger Games. There we go. The video is now started as well. Here we go. We are together. I'm not finished this book yet because I'm actually reading it rather than listening to it, because I heard from Meredith and actually Ashley now that there's some disappointment to be found in the audiobook. So fine, whatever. And I like to have this book in my physical possession too. Anyways, I didn't think I was going to like it, and I friggin' love it. I'm about halfway through, so we'll see if I enjoy the conclusion or whatever. But so far, so good. Really happy. Super excited to watch the movie, but I'm a fool because I've felt this way before, with the exception of Shawshank Redemption, have never, ever, ever liked the movie that's been based on a book. So we'll see. But I just wanted to do this personal journal now because I'm fresh in the book and I don't want to forget like I do, because I'll be done that book and then by the time we record this, actually it wouldn't be too long. Anyway, neither here nor there, bookies. I just want you to know that I'm enjoying this book. It's extra exciting because I thought I wasn't going to like it. So I kind of started at like a deficit and now I'm achieving a liking, which makes the space between deficit and liking extra. Do you see what I'm saying with that math there? That was a very visual idea for me. So I don't know if it'll come across to the listener. Anyway, that's what it is. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Good job. Although, like, I think we were kind of talking about this at the end of Eat, Pray, Love, and maybe I'm going to make it my mission to mention Eat, Pray, Love in all of my personal journals because so far I have. And I know that I will. Anyway, the book itself is good and interesting. I lost my train of thought. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I said this at the end of that episode, is the songs. That's what the feedback was from Meredith, is that the songs aren't sang in the audiobook. They're just read. And I can't even believe who dropped that ball. That's so crazy to me. Get an artist and have them sing the songs. Like, get a #1 single attached to your book and your movie. And Ashley has seen the movie 4 times at this point, which is, it could be changed by the time we actually air this, but it doesn't sound like they've made a song. I haven't heard any songs on the radio. So like, what is going on? Why would they not seize the opportunity to have like a full song for this book? I don't even understand that. That's crazy to me. That's where I'll end. But I do like the book, even though I don't like the decisions around how to promote it.
All right, I'm back again. Check it, wreck it, let's begin. Actually, I don't really think those are the words to the song, but welcome back. I'm back. Lindsay is back at Book Interrupted. I'm sure you all missed me so much over the last year. I know I really did miss you, and I'm so excited to see all the gals later on and catch up and see them and hear what they think of the books. But let's dive into what are we reading? The Hunger Games, the prequel. Because I wasn't here last season, y'all should know that I loved the Hunger Games. I read them all super fast when they came out, how many years ago? And so I was really excited to read this. And I liked it. I did really like it. I read the first maybe 2/3 so fast. And then I got to the last third. Okay, wait, hold on. This is spoiler alert. So if you do not want to hear anything about the end of the book, then please plug your ears, la 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 la, so that you don't hear. Okay, you have time? Okay. At the end, when they go to District 12, I found that one to be a little bit slower, a little bit harder to read. It took me a while to read, but I still really liked it. And I liked the build up of, oh, maybe I shouldn't give away too much, but the climax at the end. So I read it. It was great. Not as good as The Hunger Games, but still pretty good. And you kept like waiting to see whether Coriolanus, like how he turned bad. That was the whole thing. I was like, what's going to happen so that he turns bad? So then I watched the movie right afterwards. And it was really hard because the movie was different than the book. And I kept having to stop the movie to tell my partner, well, in the book they did this. And in the book this was there. And in the book, I think both of us found it. Well, it was hard for me to distinguish between the two, but I think both of us found that in the book, it was such a buildup that it made sense at the end, that climax. But during the movie, it kind of just came about and you're like, what's happening? So I think that unfortunately, maybe the movie could have been 2 movies, I think, the Hunger Games bit and then the District 12 bit. And I think that would have been better because they would have been able to flesh out the characters a bit more. But I think the acting was great. And, anyways, that's it. I'm so happy to be back, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Book Interrupted. If you'd like to see the video highlights from this episode, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Interrupted.